schauen wir uns doch ganz kurz mal die Strecke an, bevor wir noch was reingehen in während hier sich die Schießanlage spiegelt im See des Olympiaparks von München und teilweise dann auch immer wieder das Fußballstadion, das Olympiastadion gezeigt wird.
Und was ich finde hier, wir haben richtig guten Soundtrack auch für unsere Rennen hier, weil gute Parallele, heute Abend spielt nochmal Hans Zimmer in der Olympiahalle und der ist ja bekannt für starke Soundtracks, aber unser Soundtrack ist mindestens genauso gut.
Wow, Hans Zimmer, die Legende ist heute hier. Ich habe mich schon einige Mal erleben dürfen bei der Formel 1
and go. stepping up a notch. You can see the way the crowds are right up against the barrier. The atmosphere building throughout the day, 9,500 packed into the range and the stands behind it. That the only ticketed part of this, the Loop 1 Opening Festival, as Rome, the man now to take the lead as they'll come around these bends on the near side to the stadium and will make their way shortly into the range for the first time. 2 prone shoots followed by 2 standings. And for this celebration of all things biathlon, music, sport and culture is Scott Dixon. Scott, some really intriguing and exciting heats this morning. It was a pedestrian-esque start to this race as they rolled through the start line after coming down from BMW World, but as they come in to the range for the first time, what are you expecting from this men's final?
Well, I'm certainly expecting a lot of unexpected shooting results, a lot of unexpected skiing results, and that's just part of biathlon. It is unpredictable, and it's what makes it so exciting. But now there is going to be a lot of anticipation as to whether people can hold their nerve, shoot well on this first visit to the shooting range, or whether they're going to have to recuperate lost time.
There has been some movement as the athletes drop down into the prone position. Campbell Wright first to shoot, and he misses on his first attempt. Eric Perrault gets away, a good start, clean through the 2 so far, and that's 3 now. Clutzer of Germany going well. You can see his targets at the top. It's Eric Perrault who's away 5 for 5. Tero Seppala as well, just as Strelo, so impressive in qualifying. He's away 5 for 5. So is Sturla Holmler Glide, waiting on the final shot of Florent Claude, and that now goes clean 5 for 5. Jonas Malacek clean as well. Well, that's Scott, an impressive start with so many men there out of the 15 going clean through the first shooting stage.
It was certainly an easier pace coming into the shooting range, meaning that you would expect there to be a higher success rate on the range. We saw that, but then again, there are still plenty of those who have missed outside the top 8. In fact, 8 and onwards we have misses, and that is pretty consistent with how we see it on the World Cup. 50% or thereabouts getting filtered out onto the penalty loop after each visit to the range.
Well, only one French athlete in this men's final, and that is Eric Perrault, and he has made a very good start indeed. Tero Seppala, well, he was superb in qualifying, and it is those 2 who are out and away, and it's Eric Perrault's just opening up a slight gap here. It was 3.2 seconds the difference as they left the range. Great to have the indication of where the athlete shot there on the targets. A new graphic for this season in the IBU, and it's great to see there 2 for Tero Seppala that were just straying out, and maybe he's been quite lucky that he was able to trigger the target with all 5 of those.
Yeah, and the targets, or the shots lying on the left-hand side of the target, indicating that he could do or benefit from an adjustment to the right. If that graphic is completely accurate, then 3 clicks or so to bring him back to center. And I suppose that information will be passed on to him by coaches around the track. Here
is the target map of Justus Strelo we've just seen flash through the picture. Well, he was formidable in terms of his shooting in the 23-24 season, just so accurate. We saw that drop a little bit last season, and he'll be feeding off the home crowd that is growing and growing as we make our way through the day here at the Loop 1 Festival. It's great to see the build-up yesterday with the youth and para races, really given a platform to shine, and the crowds yesterday spectacular, and back again today, growing through the morning and into this afternoon as they make their way around this 1.8 kilometre loop at the Olympic Park, and shortly we will see them come into the range for the second time. This the 2.8 kilometre mark, and of course it is Eric Perrault, the young Frenchman who made such an impact last season, who's followed through by Tero Seppala, Justus Strelo, and here is the charge led by Sturla Holmler Glide off the back of winning his first total score globe.
Yeah, what a great field we have here, and the IBU making such a fantastic effort to get all these big names from all these big nations to meet here just 5 weeks before the season opener on snow. And that really is a testament to the efforts of the IBU family, which is really one of the most amazing things about this sport, is that it isn't just a slogan, it is very much a reality.
Yep, we feel that every year. Wherever we go on the World Cup tour, you do feel welcomed and the sport embraced by so many corners of the globe, and that, of course, well represented through our heats today, where we had so many smaller biathlon nations, Great Britain, Brazil, Greenland. So many of countries that don't always fight it out at the top of the table. Great to see them represented here today in Munich. As into the range we go, shooting to Eric Perrault leads by 4.1 seconds from Justus Strelo, but tucked in just behind him, half a second behind as they came into shooting two with Tero Seppälä. And once again they'll drop down into the prone position as they train of athletes led by Sturla Holmlegård follow in from behind.
You can see the adjustments there being made by Perrault. He made some adjustments to the up and down rotation and left to right. But the first shot for Perrault landing on the left-hand side, it is a hit, but he's still faring over to the left, and his shots, each one getting further right. 5 for 5 for Perrault, 5 for 5 for Seppälä. Fantastic shooting.
Superb at the front, perfect from our two leaders. One dropped by Justus Strelo. He'll be once around the approximately 60-metre penalty loop. Here's Sturla Holmlegård though, clicking into gear, and he'll be up into third, followed by Anton Vidmar of Slovenia, who flew through his qualifying. And great to see in that fluorescent green, as they so often are. The Slovenians represented right at the top of proceedings here today. So the first four through and out of shooting 2 of 4. Justus Strelo dropping 1. He hasn't found himself too far off the pace, just 17 seconds behind, and we've seen already how quickly things can chop and change in this short and fast format of biathlon.
Well, Ellard 7.8 seconds down after shoot 1, and then 11.1 after shoot 2, and that's down off Perrault having both hit all of the targets. An indication there perhaps he's either got tired legs or is being a little bit more conservative with his shooting. Ellard shooting slower than the fastest shooter, Victor Brandt, 26.7 for Ellard.
So out to the front of the course we go. Perfect in prone, Perrault and Seppälä.
This stretch of track is particularly interesting from a tactical perspective, because it's very narrow and it is fast, as you can see, but the opportunities to get past are few and far between. You really have to accelerate very fast in relation to the athlete in front of you to get past, and you need to also hope that they hold their line. If they drift into the center, it makes it difficult. So it definitely is a tactical game, choosing where and when to do your overtaking.
So here is Justus Strelo, and look at that one and only stray shot so far, so close, just at the edge of the ring there. As we see our leaders go through the 4.6 kilometre mark, and this would be in the qualifying stages when they'd be into the home straight. A look over the shoulder from Sturla Holmlegård, maybe trying just to call on the support and help of Anton Vidmar of Slovenia, the 25-year-old who has plenty of experience at World Championships, competed in 3 for his nation.
See the pace around this corner, just looking a little bit more relaxed, and we are approaching the shooting range, and that does come with the territory. You don't want to come into the range with too much intensity, so that you can get your breathing under control, start focusing on your rhythm. The transition between the aggressive nature out on the track into the shooting range really is what makes biathlon so fascinating, because you have those two very conflicting mental states that you have to jump between the drop of a hat.
Well, it's really gritted teeth from Sturla Holmlegård, who through the 4.6 kilometre mark was in third, 13.8 seconds off the pace. We'll get a better idea of the picture as he comes into shooting 3, but he is trailing Tero Seppälä and Eric Perrault. Nothing to separate the athletes wearing bib 1 and 2 as they come in to the range. That's the first standing shoot, first of 2. Both perfect so far.
Perrault with the first hit, he manages to get the second one down, missing the third, but Seppälä still managing to hit all the targets. He goes 4 for 4, and he hesitates, but manages to get the 5th target down. Phenomenal shooting from Seppälä.
Extraordinary from Tero Seppälä, and he will lead the inaugural Loop 1 Festival. Flying through the shots is Vidmar. Sturlaholm Glide has dropped 2. Vidmar has now dropped 1. Strelo close to going 5 for 5, and now he does. Malacek as well, and the picture at the front of this race will all be shaken up, but Tero Seppälä has an advantage of 5.4 seconds. Who will follow out behind them? It looks to be Justus Strelo, 19.7 seconds. He trails as they come over this short, sharp climb out of the range. Maracek taking his time, biding his time, but climbing up the order. Isak Frey has done some good work to climb as well, the IBU Cup winner from last season. He is up to 6th after a challenging first couple of visits to the range.
Surum, the fastest skier of lap 3. He had some early mistakes on the range, which has dropped him back 28.9 seconds after shooting number 3. But one to watch out for. He's still capable of climbing and closing that gap. But Seppälä doing a fantastic job to get so far out in front, with Perrault hot on his heels.
Well, he had some big moments last season, Tero Seppälä, finishing as the highest ranked Finnish male last season, as Finland, well, were in such good form as a nation. They've changed things in terms of the setup, and you listen to the coaches, they have really brought a level of alignment to the squad, and with of course Suvi Minkkinen flying on the women's side. Tero Seppälä, usually the partner in crime of Suvi Minkkinen in the single mixed relays, is right at the front of this one, although closing the gap spectacularly. Eric Perrault is now right back on the heels of the Finn.
That was dramatic. You can see with every single stride his intention to close that gap and to take advantage of Seppälä's slipstream, and he's right in there. He's now close and will be benefiting from that. And now Perrault will be thinking about recovering to some degree, because that charge would not have come easy. It's going to take a little bit out of his legs, his arms, and his cardiovascular systems will be working overtime, so he needs to really focus on bringing that down for this next visit to the shooting range, the final visit to the shooting range.
They will have 1 lap to go after that, and I am already anticipating how that will pan out, because we are in, well, such an exciting position here in the inaugural Loop 1 Festival, as the instructions barked into the ear of Eric Perrault as he gets that corner smoothly. Here is the picture behind, and that is Isak Frey, who is in 3rd, wearing bib number 4. Multiple European and junior champion, a really well-decorated medal and trophy cabinet for someone so young. IBU Cup winner last season. I expect we'll see a lot more from him this season upcoming. He's missed 3, but he's holding his own, Scott. When you look at the numbers of those around him, he is performing so well for the 3 shots he's missed. He's
skiing much faster than Surum, much faster than Legride. He is absolutely on fire. He's skiing faster than Strelo, having already done an extra 120 meters covered around the penalty loop in this race alone, but also testament to his fast shooting. He was the fastest shooting time with 17.2 seconds on the mat in his first visit stand shooting.
Well, the kids are all right, aren't they? What a way to announce yourself. Can he climb up the order as they pull in? Leading 2, and then the train will arrive shortly, led by Isak Frey. Justus Strelo in the mix as well, with Malacek, Vidmar and Sörlum. But here are our leaders, the final shooting stage, side by side, Tero Seppälä and Eric Perrault.
Perrault gets away early with a first miss and a second one to follow. It's not looking good for the Frenchman, but he gets the remaining 3, so it's not over. Seppälä also missing 2, but he gets the last shot, so it's going to be head-to-head, but the door is very much open now for the chasers.
Well, the door is open, but you expect that the lead out of this 4th and final shooting stage will go the way of Eric Perrault. A miss for Sörlum. Isak Frey is flying, and he's gone 5 for 5. Talk about a recovery. That is superb. Justus Strelo, can he hit the 5th? He does. And the battle is well and truly on. Victor Brandt, that's great shooting. Sturlaholm Glide, there's traffic as they come out of the penalty loop and back into it. But Isak Frey leads after 3 missed shots. Eric Perrault just 0.8 of a second behind, and then Teo Seppala 7 seconds off the pace. Isak Frey, well, talk about a recovery.
Wow, I mean, the shooting was fast on the third visit to the range, but absolutely impeccable on the final visit. 14.3 seconds to get all the targets down for Isak Frey, which was 2 seconds faster than Perrault, and Perrault missed 2.
Well, that is outrageous. Here we go, race on. Isak Frey, the youngster, the up-and-coming star, against someone who's well and truly arrived on the scene, Eric Perrault. There's a look at the shots from Perrault, and those two, well, the second in particular, that was well astray. There's round the corner goes Isak Frey. He is in the lead here, but tucked in behind, and you imagine quite comfortable with his position right now. Here's Eric Perrault, but he won't have many opportunities to overtake, Scott, and that will be key, is picking and judging the movement of the young athletes ahead of him just right.
Oh, this is such a difficult, well, for both of them, navigating where to make a move and what to do in this situation is tricky. They don't want to go too slow so that someone else catches up, and you actually see both of them taking a look over their shoulder, evaluating how much effort do they need to put in to either maintain their gap or whether it is just a head-to-head battle, and I think they've concluded the latter.
Now you can see the battle for third is hotting up behind, and they're not too far away from this leading pair. This is a thrilling final lap that we're working our way round in the Olympic Park here in Munich.
And Seppala is in absolutely phenomenal form in terms of ski speed. He's certainly trying to close that gap. He came out of the range 7 seconds behind.
But look at the change to the lead. It's Eric Perrault, who has found a way past Isak Frey. Still only half a second in it. And the coaches on both sides roaring into the ears. Teo Seppala just starting to fade round the outside. Comes Justus Strelo, urged on by the German home crowd. This is it.
What an attack from Perrault, managing to get away from Isak Frey, who is doing everything in his power to maintain that gap, but just lacking that last little bit of oomph. And you can see Perrault just getting away from him, but it is not over until they cross the line.
A brief look over the shoulder from Isak Frey, who has done so much battling to get back into this competition, to be fighting at the top end in the podium positions. But he has been well and truly broken by Eric Perrault. He is a class above, and he is flying around the bend and into the stadium, and he will no doubt be victorious here at the inaugural Luke One Festival. It's Eric Perrault, the Frenchman, who is on the charge, and he is victorious. What a way to open up the 25-26 biathlon season, and welcome to Isak Frey. That is how you do it. Cool, calm, composed. The errors were there in front of him, and he brushed past each and every one of them. Justus Strelo takes a medal on home soil. And for Björn Sørlund, once again, a valiant fight back, but this time round it wasn't enough, as we see Sturla Holmlund, the World Cup total score winner, across the line in 7th.
What an unbelievably exciting and fast-paced last lap. You can see Perrault is hurting, and it cannot be overstated how hard a track like this is. There's no recovery. It's full-time pain and punishment to the body, and they handled it with absolute class, and testament to Frey's incredible shooting in stand to be able to hit 10 out of 10 in collectively less than or almost 30 seconds is just impeccable. Oh wow, not much time to stop over the finish line there. I think Campbell
battle Malacek and Fletcher of Germany, both of them wanting to give everything towards the line. And well, the momentum, the upward trajectory that Eric Perrault has been on for the last 18 months has been nothing short of spectacular. First individual world title this season. He is the champion here in Munich for the inaugural Luke One Biathlon Opening Festival. But Isak Frey on the rise. the IBU Cup winner from last season, taking a hard-fought silver medal.
Perot speaking Norwegian there to Ellard.
Was there a touch of the Ronaldo celebration, maybe a little bit there, as much as you can do on roller skis, as he's still deep in conversation with the man who finished second, and a big smile on the face of Isak Frey, who can be very proud of what he's achieved today and the mark he's laid down. Very good early season signs from those two, as we see the last of our athletes start to roll over the finish line, and it's the Belgian, one of the two Belgian representatives, Florent Claude, I believe, is making his way into the stadium, and in true biathlon family fashion, as of course we were speaking about earlier, he will be welcomed home with a standing ovation.
Sorum having the fastest ski time around this beautiful park here, and really showing his form. Full 5.5 seconds ahead of Perot's time. But very little could touch Isak Frey's incredible ski speed. And I must apologize, I did say that he shot clear in stand, but that was not the case. He did miss one in his first visit to stand shooting.
But still, we talk about the recovery. I think in this style of racing it is very hard unless you have the prowess and the kind of, obviously we talk about his raw talent, but the fitness as well of Ellard. It is hard to recover from missing more than one in one visit to the range, although saying that, with the advantage that him and Tero Seppler had already accrued over the rest of the pack, of course, Ellard was able to do that, and able to do so in spectacular fashion. Great to see some of the highlights there, really painting the picture of what it's like in Munich, with maybe some of the scenery that, of course, we're not used to seeing for biathlon racing, and in particular for a biathlon opening weekend. Marking the start of the 25-26 season. Before that will start on the World Cup in earnest next month.
What a way to build the anticipation for the season with an event that is as exciting as this, with a format that is as novel as this. And I think something that is going to really draw crowds to see this level of unpredictability, as we've seen from today. I know Sepp Alla is a fantastic biathlete, and Victor Brandt also, but the kind of shuffling of the order that we would usually expect to see definitely adds that element of anticipation and excitement to every single race.
Well, of course, we've seen the two British biathletes who you know very well go in the heats. Scott, how much would you have loved to be competing in this kind of format?
Oh, there's a thrill to it, because when you get on that start line, there's a part of you that thinks, actually, something could happen here. There's a door that is partially open for those who are not at the sharpest end of World Cup performance to potentially squeeze in. And with that, every opportunity, with every person who has that opportunity, bringing another level of excitement to the sport.
Well, he's such an entertainer, Ellard Perot. And still in the very early stages of what no doubt will be a very fruitful career. Third overall last season. Plenty looking at the results from last season in particular, and saying that predicting a potential future total score winner in Ellard Perot, who's still just 24 years old. And with Isak Frey alongside him, Scott, it's so easy at the moment to get excited about the future of this sport.
It absolutely is. I think the IBU really showing the interest in trying to come up with these new formats and experiment with new formats. in a really healthy way, such that they still have all of the beloved races.
Congratulations,
And
that was
let's hear
such
from
an
Peru.
exciting competition today. How fun was it to compete here at this venue with this amazing crowd?
It was crazy. I really enjoyed my race, and it's not often because it's hard also to go. But today it was just so great, so good, really good atmosphere. Also a great track, great opponent. So, I mean, everything was fine to do a good race, and I really enjoyed the fight until the finish line. So it was an amazing day.
Does this win shows that your hard work during the summer is paying off ahead of the Olympic season?
Yes, exactly. I feel that I'm great. I'm good in shape right now. I had a really good preparation until today, so I know all is good. But 1 month before starting the World Cup, and I don't know how many months before the Olympics, but for the moment it's on the right way.
Great job today. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Well, great to hear from Eric Perrault there. Not necessarily counting down the days to the Olympics in the manner that we see some of the athletes.
Martin Fourcade having an enthusiastic conversation there. He's manages to put on a fantastic show in the summer at the Fourcade Festival in France. Another example of how entertaining this sport is. Also, we have the Blink Festival in Norway, which is another fantastic event, really showing how enthusiastic crowds are to come to these summer roller ski race events, as they have turned out here in their thousands.
Well, it's all about getting biathlon out to the masses, isn't it? And some, of course, will follow, and we see so many follow all the way around, not just Europe, but up into North America and around the globe, follow the sport during the World Cup season. But it's great to see so many more of these events. Of course, got the ones that you've mentioned there, actually bring biathlon to the people who may not always be able to travel out to some of these remote locations that we so often see biathlon take place in. Bring biathlon to them, and hopefully they will learn more about the sport, fall in love with the sport, as so many of us have done.
Yeah, you find it just takes for people to be exposed to the sport to understand how fantastic it is, and it's that element of unpredictability which you don't often get with many sports. It's rare that you are so unsure who is going to be in the top 10, and today was a great example of that.
So a brief lull from the action as we prepare for the start of the women's event here in Munich. Welcome if you are just joining us. A spectacular men's race where Eric Perrault able to break Isaac Frey in the final lap, the closing stages of the race, to take victory in the inaugural Loop 1 Festival. Who will be our women's champion? We will wait and see, but it's a stacked field, and they will all be preparing now up at BMW World, ready to be brought down.
Einen Moment Zeit nehmen, um einer ganz besonderen Person zu gedenken. Eine Frau, dessen Leidenschaft, Stärke und vor allem die Fröhlichkeit uns alle inspiriert hat. Laura Dahlmeier. Laura verkörpert alles, für was dieses Festival hier steht. Leidenschaft, Hingabe, Lebensfreude.
Now, before the start of the women's race, the Biathlon family will pause to remember and celebrate the life of Laura Dahlmeier.
Dass wir herzlich, fröhlich und laut und ganz viel positive Energie zu ihr hochschicken. Deswegen gibt es jetzt eine Minute von Applaus. Please join in for a minute of applause for Laura Dahlmeier.
Ja, und genau so ist es, glaube ich, auch richtig. Laura hätte so
Lovely
gewollt.
moment there to remember Laura Dahlmeier. She epitomised the word champion, not only being an incredible athlete, but exuding warmth wherever she went. And our love and thoughts remain always with her family, friends, and everyone who knew her.
I think a really beautiful gesture there from the IBU and the event organisers, and there'll be a lot of emotions for all of these competitors ahead of their race, including nerves, of course.
So away from the stadium, up at BMW World, the athletes introduced one by one to the crowd who have gathered here. And well, what a way it is to start the race. They'll be introduced, of course, in reverse order, with Jean Richard, followed by Lara Wagner of Austria. The World Cup team in Oslo at the end of last season. Lotte Lee representing Belgium. Two Belgian representatives in this race, as we had on the men's side of things. Their accuracy and sharp shooting serving them well in the qualifying stages. Here's Maya Clautens, who impressed with her accuracy, particularly in the second half of last season. And Vidal, the home favourite from this field. Gasparin, the single mixed relay winner. Pokluka towards the end of last season, what a day that was. And a race weekend that was in a hole as well. Here's Anna Gandler, Austrian, one of two Austrians in this women's final field. She had to fight so hard, didn't she, Lea Meyer? But it was great to see all the way to the line. Had her career best finish in the short individual in Contiolati, finishing 23rd at the start of last season. Hannah Scottine, some clever movement in her race. And her safely through. What a season it was for Milena Todorova. 2 World Cup podiums. Personal best on the World Cup being a second place finish towards the end of last season. Carolina Figstad Knotten, 3-time world champion. That was something to prove in this race. We'll line up side by side with Suvi Minkkinen, World Championships bronze medalist after a breakthrough season last time round, and has, well, really catapulted her way into the hearts of so many of the biathlon fans, not just in Finland but around the world. Anna Magnusson, the one-time World Cup winner. Really clever race from her, bided her time in her qualifying and progresses as one of the 4 winners of the heats, as did Lisa Vitozzi, and she did so in spectacular fashion. A big welcome back to the Italian ahead of a home Olympics approaching in the next few months. And side by side with her, Lou Jean Monod, 4-time relay world champion. A real battle, one of the battles for the ages between her and Franziska Preuss, who unfortunately isn't here to compete on home soil, owing to a hand injury sustained in the last few weeks. We wish her the best in her recovery ahead of the upcoming Biathlon World Cup season, which kicks off, of course, as we've already mentioned, next month.
It's nice to see the French competitors, not all just bunched up at the front, but with Richard having a bit of chasing to do, so some of the favourites not just on the front ranks, but having to do some work. But we saw the same from Vitozzi during her heat. She came from very far back to winning very far forward, so it could be something of an advantage to be starting a little further back.
Yeah, of course, owing to Lisa Vitozzi's seeding, the seeding for the qualifying heats based off their World Cup record. Lisa Vitozzi back down the field, had to slowly work her way through it, bide her time, and then finished, was 18 seconds, I believe, ahead of the rest of the field, just a touch over that 18-second mark. As well, we see some of the interesting setup used by the cameraman as well on the back of a skateboard, flying forward around the back of the athletes there.
Yeah,
so many innovations on show across the board, Scott.
A really fantastic cinematography from the camera team here, really showcasing this event beautifully and the surrounding area. And isn't it wonderful to see such a casual start to a race where they're avoiding using their poles in this lovely indoor floor as they get out to where the pacing car is going to get them around nice and comfortably, which did lead to quite a slow start last time for the men.
Yeah, it'll be intriguing to see when they go through the flying start, of course. It's a rolling start for the finals. Just how quickly they will, how quickly the athletes will react to going over the start-finish line. We did see with the men it was kind of a pedestrian first, just under a lap before the pace was really picked up by Eric Perot and Tara Sepler as they came into the range. Interesting to see how it plays out here as Jean Richard, of course, right at the back. She was one of the lucky losers to make her way through, the French woman, and an impressive season on the World Cup last time out. She'll be back hungry, wanting more this season, of course, as you can see, two of the icons of the sport side by side as they make their way around behind the formation vehicle. It's kind of like a safety car-esque, if any of you are Formula One fans, the formation lap before they then get into their racing in earnest. It's something that's so intriguing to see, but also great for these fans who are a little bit further out of the venue, maybe only making their way in, or maybe casual fans who are just coming around the Olympic Park for a walk today. They get to see the athletes up close and personal as they make their way into the Olympic Park. They'll go through the stadium and up towards the start line. And then a flying start to kick things off as he looks over the shoulder there from Richard as this camera, which I believe is the one that's on the skateboard, makes its way through. And of course, with 15 athletes in this field, she is the odd one out right at the back.
Such an amazing event. To be able to build a shooting range inside a city is quite an achievement in and of itself. And then to have that pass every single safety check and then have biathletes skiing through the streets as they are now currently doing is such a great sight. And I think, of course, you don't need to sell it to the German people. They're already sold. But hopefully this will just continue to spread far and wide as people see just how fantastic this sport is.
Yeah, something that Lou Jean Monod mentioned. She said for the fans, this summer racing, it brings something new. And she said that it could certainly introduce something more regular in the future. She is the athlete wearing number 1 on her bib. To the side of her, Lisa Vitozzi. These two had an excellent battle in the 23-24 season. Lisa Vitozzi missing out last season owing to an injury that she fought so hard to try and recover from in the season. Had to wait until it started this season to get back into things, and well, her much anticipated return to the World Cup circuit. We'll see that in a few weeks' time. Through the fan festival they go, of course. Not just biathlon this weekend, it's all about the sport, but sports in general here in Munich. Food, culture, music, a festival that really has the lot. As they come towards the rolling start.
They will be eager to get underway and start really applying the power, and you can see that transition just as they make their way through the starting gates.
So here we go, the women's final, the final race of the day at the inaugural Loop 1 Biathlon Opening Festival. And it is Lou Jean Monod who leads the way, wearing bib number 1. Tucked in behind her is Lisa Vitozzi. They've gone through the rolling start-finish gates. And maybe a just slight, bit of caution as they come into this first bend. No one pushing the pace too significantly at the moment. You can see Carolina Knotten trying to make her way around the outside. She started back in 5th, wearing, of course, bib number 5th, and bib number 5 even, and she's already up to the shoulder of Lou Jean Monod as this field still feels quite bunched as they make their way around the early stages of this race.
Yeah, I suspect that's going to stretch now after this corner, because I think there's like a common understanding from everybody that there's no need to push the pace too dramatically and then risk anything on a corner like that. But now along the flat, we're actually not seeing too much of an increase of pace. Anybody at the front would be taking the wind. A little bit of a price to pay for that in terms of energy. And it's still nice and casual, but I don't think that's going to last for too long.
No, if the men's race is anything to go by, we could kind of expect something along these lines for the first lap. The first of 5 laps, 1.8 kilometres is the loop. I'm sure you all know it by now, around the Olympic Lake here in Munich. And well, as much as we mentioned the challenges of getting a range set up in a city centre, in a really built-up area, of course, the park here, but right in the centre of it all, the range isn't just in the city centre, it's on the lake as well, which is just incredible and makes for a real spectacle.
How can we make this more novel? Well, let's build a range on a lake.
A floating range, and you can see it there just in the top of your picture, along with those iconic peaks of the Olympic Stadium, rebuilt and of course all refurbished for the 1972 Olympic Games, and ever so fitting that in this Olympic season we kick things off here at somewhere so synonymous with Olympic sport on the track and field. And now, home of the biathlon, as Jean Monod will bring them around these bends here, gradual bends after that tight turn, which we saw some problems earlier on in the race as they come up to the 1 kilometre mark. But everyone in this 15 athlete field through safely.
A really nice slow speed, and I think that we can expect to see, similar to the men, around about half of the field go clear. But despite the fact that it's slow, I mean, I would have expected more of the men to go clear, to be honest, with that intensity. So with this intensity, there should be more than half of the field going 5 out of 5. But then if that is not the case, that would be an indication that nerves are having a big impact on performance.
Well, it was interesting to hear some of the athletes talk about their nerves through the qualifying stages. Suvi Minkinen mentioned it after her post-race interview, saying that she did have a little bit of nerves around her and she didn't know sort of how this was going to pan out. So as much as the likes of Jean Monod, who's at the front of this field, said that it's a great opportunity to try things with a little less stress, some of the athletes have been taking on a bit of the pressure, but Scott, you have to say that's not necessarily a bad thing going into the World Cup, which starts next month.
No, standing shoulder to your biggest competitors come the season, and almost getting the measure of them. How are they performing? How are they doing under pressure? How are they handling each and every moment as they are by their side is going to really weigh into their, I would say, their expectations for the winter and the race season to come.
So here we go, the first of 4 shooting stages, as with the men. 2 prone shoots to kick things off, followed by the 2 standing, nothing between on the top 3, and then Anna Magnusson 1.3 seconds down, but it is a long train of athletes who now drop down into the prone position. Lisa Vitozzi quickly into that position. Who will take the first shot? It will be Anna Weidel of Germany. She's already 2, and they're 2 clean shots as well. Richard starts with a miss. Vitozzi has 2 down. That's 3. Weidel is absolutely flying, and she's 5 for 5, and the German will be away clean. Lisa Vitozzi will join her. She's gone clean. Anna Magnusson has missed on the last. Anna Ganler was clean. Both the Belgian representatives in continuing their good shooting form, particularly in the prone position, have gone 5 for 5 and are away as well. So let's take a look as they make their way up this short, sharp climb. There's been a collision in the penalty loop. 2 athletes going down. Lisa Vitozzi is first across the line at the top of the climb, going out of shooting 1. She leads by 1.1 second ahead of Anna Weidel, and Ganler flying through as well.
Yeah, that's not good. It's very congested. Lots of people turning right there and going on to the penalty loop, which, as you say, caused a bit of a clash. So hopefully everyone involved in that is okay, but it is the athlete coming off the penalty loop who has the right of way.
And so in the manner that she did in her qualifying, Lisa Vitozzi clean in her first shoot, and now she will try and push the pace. It was such a dominant victory in her race. It was the biggest margin of victory that we've seen through the course of the day so far. And there's a look back at that collision.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't see the bib number, but not good, and that certainly would not have been comfortable. It looked as though the athlete coming off the penalty loop intended to go up the hill. I don't think they were going round again, in which case you could be looking at disqualification if that is the case.
Well, I believe it was Carolina Knotten, the athlete who went down. The Norwegian finds herself 18.2 seconds off the pace. As we go back to the front of the field, and Lisa Vitozzi with Anna Weidel in behind her.
And interestingly, only 1/3 of the field managing to get all of the targets down, so even less than half, and that is despite going very slow. It's a really fantastic representation of how much the psychology comes into play on the shooting range. It was a slow pace coming in, and yet more than half went on the penalty loop.
So here is the chase pack that we can see. A long string of athletes led by Hannah Gandler. And you can see, even though we had, of course, 3 athletes outside the 2 have broken away who went clean in shooting 1, they've been joined by those who missed 1, including Suvi Minkkinen up there, Lujon Minot, Todorova, of course, as well. And it can all change ever so quickly, but if the qualifying that Lisa Vitozzi won by such a big margin is anything to go by, those in the chase pack won't want to leave her out there, out front for too long at all.
Well, look at this chasing group. They're all huddled very closely, and that's going to really benefit those who are toward the back end of that in terms of the slipstream. Knotten trying to reconnect after her collision, as you said.
Well, the support has been incredible as we go back to the front with Lisa Vitozzi, and Scott, we've seen it building and building through the day.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's so many people coming out to watch this event, so much excitement, and you can really hear the enjoyment from the crowd, particularly as the shots go down from the German biathletes. But you know, with biathlon fans, they love biathlon, and they love all biathletes. Of course, there is a particular affiliation to those from the nation you are from also, but most biathletes have favorites outside of their own nation who they will cheer for and support.
So onto the purple carpet once again, Lisa Vitozzi, and you'll hear the roar as she makes her way round into the stadium, packed full, 9,500 in this area in front of the range, and it is great to see, isn't it, as they come in. And there is a German, the only German representative in this final for the women, Anna Weidel, who is side by side with the 23-24 total score winner, Lisa Vitozzi. On her return, she's impressed so far. Can she keep it up?
Both of the first shots go down for our leaders. The second one to follow in quick succession. Great accurate shooting from the 2 in the lead. 4 for 4. And they both go clear. 5 out of 5. And beautiful shooting. And looking further down the field, Jean Minot, she's coming back for 3 for 3. Make that 4 out of 4 for Jean Minot. She goes clear. And it's great shooting also from Lotte Lee and Anna Gandler.
Well, excellent, wasn't it, when you look at some of the results there, and the Belgians keep up their excellent shooting so far. Maya Klotten going 5 for 5 as well. Something that really set them apart from some of the other nations, just how, as a unit, how accurate they were, the Belgians, last season. And here are, you can see on your screen, the results as they come out of shooting 2 of 4 and make their way around their third lap. Suvi Minkkinen, 24 seconds down, missed 2. Skottheim and Magnusson also missing 2, but within 30 seconds of the lead.
Vitozzi really demonstrating that control and that discipline that she showed through so many of the races throughout her career. But in this particular moment, and in the races leading up to it, the heat, She has demonstrated complete discipline and complete control. Excellent so far.
She has been marked all the way so far by Anna Weidel. She's glued to the back of her once again, the 29-year-old. Made teams for 3 Junior World Championships. 11th on the IBU Cup total score last season. Here's the shooting of Lou Jean-Minot, and that first one almost going astray, Scott.
Yeah, it's those edge shots, you might call it lucky when it's just on the edge of the white, and it could go either way, but most often than not, it's on the inside of the threshold. And that's as a result of just all of the variables that come together in shooting, the sight picture, the breathing, the trigger pressure. That's a result of so many of those factors being perfect that when there is a poor aim, still the chances are that it's going to fall inside the threshold for some of these top athletes.
Two-time world champion Lisa Vitozzi leading the way. Here is the chase group. Lou Jean-Minot wearing bib number 1, fighting her way back into this.
She appears totally willing to take the lead, to take all of the wind at the front, although that said, the camera here is going to be having some effect on that, but nevertheless, she is charging, trying to close the gap, and rightly so.
So keep your eyes on the time here, because the gap when they left shooting 2 was 14.6 seconds back to from Lou Jean-Minot back to Lisa Vitozzi. Now, one of the big winners from that last lap is Anna Weidel, has gone to just 0.4 of a second behind Lisa Vitozzi. Has the time changed? Lou Jean-Minot, well, big winner there, dragging the chase pack ground to now just outside 10 seconds behind the leader.
We've got some fantastic skiing also from the likes of Magnussen and Scottheim, both of them marking the fastest course time on the second loop, indicating they are in fantastic form, and with a bit more accuracy on the shooting range could climb up the order.
So the leading 2 coming towards the purple carpet and the range once again, and you can see that gap just keeps getting smaller and smaller as Lou Jean-Minot, having just missed 1, is on the charge and has really stabilised her race. What can she do as they come into the range for the first of 2 standing shoots? It's Lisa Vitozzi who leads Anna Weidel, who will have, of course, the roar of support from the home crowd, who are delighted to see a German contending right at the top. And very much well in the mix here.
The Germans, they train for this. The sound effects of the crowd are often playing during their training sessions, where they try and simulate these pressures, these psychological dynamics. So there's no shock to the system as 10,000 people scream when you hit the target. Vitozzi goes first 2 shots down with ease, the third goes down, and it's so fast until the final shot, which is thrown wide. A low right miss for Lisa Vitozzi.
1 miss for Anna Weidel as well. Lou Jean-Minot has a miss too, and Gandler has 2. Things all shaking up in the chase pack. Todorova will just be once around the loop. It's the first miss of the day for Lotte Lee. Scottheim goes clean, 5 for 5. Can Anna Magnussen do the same? She does. Maja Plottens keeps her perfect record. 15 out of 15 so far.
Wow, what a comeback from the Swedes, both going clear and are going to be getting themselves up towards the sharp end of the field. But Lisa Vitozzi managing to get out despite her miss with a fantastic time, 10 seconds ahead of Weidel of Germany.
Well, she's coming into this in great form, isn't she, Lisa Vitozzi?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's such a hard race, even though there aren't the giant hills. With every giant hill, there are giant recovery opportunities in World Cup racing. But these flat terrains are just continuous bombardment to the body, and they make it very difficult. But we did see Vitozzi there getting faster and faster with every shot, and it does make me wonder if her invincibility cloak suddenly started to waver there towards the end, and perhaps discipline cracking ever so slightly for the final shot.
Well, when you look at the difference coming out of the range at shooting 2, she was 2.5 seconds ahead of Anna Vidal. There was nothing to separate them on the shooting stage before, of course, as well. And now on shooting, coming out of shooting 3, she has almost a 10-second advantage. And this, Scott, well, this is where she needs to push on and ensure that she can create a gap that even if she does drop 1 on the final stage, she can still get out ahead of those chasing.
Yeah, that's right. And only 15 seconds, or 15 seconds thereabouts, is what it takes to get around the penalty loop. But there's a lot of difference in terms of how long it takes for people to shoot all 5 targets. For example, in the shooting number 3, Lotte Lee took 28 seconds to get to shoot all 5, whereas Lisa Vitozzi only took 19.2 seconds. That's a gap, or a difference of 9 seconds.
And then when you factor that in, it is so clear how Lisa Vitozzi got round, of course, then. The around 60 metre, approximately 60 metre penalty loop and off back out to the course with the lead that she has. Although with those chasing, who we can see now, Skottheim leading the way. The Swede who was perfect in that last stage, dragging those behind her. The role of Lou Jean Monod that she played in the last lap. She's now a little bit further back.
It's not an easy game to play when you're leading a group of such fast athletes like Lou Jean Monod and Anna Magnusson to stay up the front and take the wind. You really want to step aside and let them go in front so you can benefit from the slipstream advantage. But Skottheim, quite controlled, quite composed, but you can see the pain on her face.
And it is almost identical, just 0.1 of a second, the difference between when they left the range and when they went through 6.4 kilometres, and that is in advantage of Lisa Vitozzi. So she hasn't lost any ground. She's having to do all the work by herself, but she is very hard in character mentally. And the last year of struggles with her health, with her fitness, the injury struggles, well, that will only add to the mental resilience that she's accrued over the course of her career so far. And that, when you're out front all by yourself, really comes into play.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it must be hard to go for so long without a competition, then to come back and suddenly find yourself at the front of the field with such a gap. But it does look like she is composed. I did mention that on her final shot, it's almost as if she was too eager to release the shot. And I do wonder if on this time she will be a little bit more composed with a more consistent time between each shot.
So here we go into the range for one final time. Lisa Vitozzi, she's well and truly back. Can she cement all the hard work she's done today, all the hard work she's done over the last 12 months with a victory at the inaugural Loop 1 Festival? She lifts her rifle to her right, the trailing pack come in behind. There's the miss, but it's only one. And it's just one miss for Lisa Vitozzi.
And
she sprints off round the penalty loop.
Skottheim, Jean Monod, Vidal, they have to shoot fast and they have to shoot clear if they want a chance. But it looks like Vitozzi's getting away as Jean Monod misses 2 targets from 5. Skottheim taking her time, gets 4 out of 4, and the 5th goes down. Vidal also with 5 for 5, Magnusson 5 for 5, Minkinen 5 for 5, and all of a sudden we have a ski race on our hands.
We do. But will it just be for the podium places? Because Lisa Vitozzi has a 10-second advantage on Skottheim as they come out of the range, but the battle is there for the medals behind. And the German crowd will be loud in support of Anna Vidal, who has been so impressive today, Scott. 19 out of 20, you cannot ask for more, really.
No, it's fantastic shooting from Vidal, and something that we can expect looking at her statistics from the season. It's a 90% hit rate in pro, 91 overall, that's including stand. So she is a fantastic, accurate shooter, but it's the ski speed that has dropped her back ever so slightly in this race so far.
Here is the target of Skottheim. Here is chasing here. Lisa Vitozzi. Anna Scottheim wearing bib number 7. She rounds the corner. She has her teammate and winner of one of the heats earlier on today, Hannah Magnusson, just behind her. And we know Hannah Magnusson can muster up the pace in the final lap as they make their way around the lake here in the Olympic Park once again. Lisa Vitozzi leaving with a 10-second advantage. But on the charges, Johannes Scottheim, his vitals target from that final shooting stage.
2 of those targets would have gone into the prone ring, and that's the level of accuracy from these top-level biathletes. Able to shoot a much smaller target and still hit. It's quite incredible.
Made 2 World Cup teams last season. Anna Vidal. And good performance here today will certainly go in her favour in terms of selection.
You can see the separation between these athletes now. It's so hard to claw back meters, but as the fatigue sets in towards the end of this race, it's just an opportunity to claw back really those psychological meters where you think, actually, the tide is turning, I can close the gap. And it's horrible being chased, knowing that the person behind you really wants to catch you and get past you, and you're both hurting.
So Lisa Vitozzi up to the 8.2 kilometre mark, and through she goes. Eyes now on the clock. Scottheim, well, she's fighting, and she's working really hard to hold off her compatriot. She's closed the gap on Vitozzi. It's down to 7.4 seconds.
Wow.
It'll be really hard to take more time off Vitozzi now. Surely this is Vitozzi's race. Anna Magnusson, though, is not far behind, just 2 seconds behind her compatriot Scottheim.
Yeah, it's certainly all to play for second and third, but you can see this means a lot to Scottheim. Always been on the fringes of the selection on World Cup. She does make it, but it's never an easy battle. The Swedish team is hard to make it onto, but look at this. Magnusson wants to close that gap, and Scottheim is saying, no, not today.
So a battle between the Swedes for the colour of the medal, but it will only be between silver and bronze, because out front and well out front is Lisa Vitozzi. Our focus on the battle behind, and it is Scottheim, Johannes Scottheim, who just leads it. Anna Magnusson is throwing everything at the closing stages of this race, but she is so impressive, and she's well and truly back. The stadium here in Munich will rise to its feet and welcome home the champion, Lisa Vitozzi. That's how you mark your return. That is how you do it in the inaugural Lukewarm Festival. Here's the battle for behind, and it has been won by Johannes Scottheim, who raises that fist. She had to work hard in the closing stages. She had her compatriot, her teammate on her shoulder, fighting from behind. And it won't be a medal today, but it's an excellent performance from Anna Vidal, the highest ranked German, the only German female to make this final, and a big result for her. Suvi Minkkinen over the line in 5th. Jean Richard, well, she had to fight back from deep down the order.
Richard having an adjusted time there. I wonder if that plays on earlier's the collision that we saw. I'm not too sure exactly how that's being adjudicated, but hopefully that information will come to us soon. But you can see a 2-minute penalty being added onto Richard's time.
And so we see the rest of the 15 athletes make their way across the line, and of course, as Scott said there, 2 minutes, the penalty added to Jean Richard, and we will bring you information on that as and when we can. But, well, everyone in this field, everyone in the stadium will be delighted for Lisa Vitozzi. She has had to work so hard, had to work hard alone over the course of the last 12 months to get back to this position. Across the line is Maya Clottens. We just have Wagner out on the course. Of course, everyone will wait in the stands and welcome her home. But a brilliant battle over the course of 5 laps. But much more than 5 laps, of course, Scott, because a lot of the work that Lisa Vitozzi did to lay down a statement in the heats has paid off, and another immaculate performance from the woman who is well and truly back.
What a day for Sweden as well as for Lisa Vitozzi on a personal level. But what good connotations for a home upcoming Olympic Games for Vitozzi. I know these races are on a very different terrain and on roller skis as well, but it's must give her a little bit of a boost ahead of the season, as it will all of these biathletes, getting to race against your competitors before it gets serious, before the snow is on the feet, or the skis are on the feet. There's a bit of a bloody chin there, unfortunately, from Lara Wagner.
Yeah, significant graze. I'd say even probably more than a graze there, a cut to the chin of Lara Wagner. Of course, we didn't see the incident that led to that, but we are certain, of course, that she'll now go off and get the treatment that she requires. And, of course, great to see her welcomed back in true fashion of biathlon with a standing ovation from the crowd here in Munich. Have been well and truly treated today. 9,500 packed into that stand behind the range, and here is the confirmation of the final results. Lisa Vitozzi, welcome back. It is a delight to have you here at the Loop 1 Biathlon Opening Festival. Well and truly delivering, and as Scott said as well, great performance for the two Swedish athletes, Scottheim and Anna Magnusson. Brilliant battle from them in the closing stages. Anna Vidal as well, you have to doff your cap to the athlete who doesn't always make it on the World Cup circuit, but has really impressed today with her strength, mentality, and only missing one of the 20 targets required.
I think it's pretty safe to say a successful format and very much enjoyed. Fast-paced, unpredictable, and relying on all of the components of biathlon to do well. But I think, is this our collision that we saw? Yes, it is.
So not the easiest angle either,
No.
and only getting a glimpse of it once. It did look like it could be Lara Wagner there, who went head first into the advertising boards.
I think the athlete going on to the penalty loop there, if my understanding of what I just saw is correct, and it was brief, but it does seem to be the athlete going on to the penalty loop there should have given way to the athlete coming off the penalty loop.
Looking back at the race of Anna Magnusson, and of course the Swedish fans, well, wherever biathlon goes, they're out in their number.
And these angles,
the final lap.
yeah, sorry, Ellen, these angles just showing how much power they generate from every single pole plant along those flat sections where it is just continuous, hard pushing without any reprieve. And Lisa Vitozzi knows that all too well with her snow basket still on her poles. But that is because the technology, of course, now being that they don't need to change them as much. They can they are strong enough to sustain a summer beating on the asphalt.
So the glow of the late autumn sun just starting to dip behind the clouds here in Munich as the athletes will be preparing to receive their medals. The prize giving ceremony coming up next here in Munich.
Lisa, congratulations. What a great performance for you today. How did you enjoy competing here in Munich in front of these just amazing fans?
Yeah, it's really amazing. I'm really emotional because I wasn't there for a long time racing with the girls. It's really amazing, and I really enjoy this day, and I can't wait to be in the winter.
That was a great comeback from you, and what was the most important for you today?
do my job, and I know how what can I do in biathlon. So I enjoy my moment and live the present, shoot clean and try to shoot clean, and yeah, I do my best and I'm satisfied.
And now, before the Olympic season, does this win show that you are on the right track, especially after missing the last season?
I don't. Sorry.
Now, before the Olympic season, does this win give you more motivation and shows that you are on the right track, especially after missing the last season?
Yeah, step by step, I try to pursue my condition, and but I had a good sensation, so I trust my feeling, and I'll do my best in every race, and I know that all the work that I've done, the result will come.
It really did. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Well, Scott, just listening to Lisa Vitozzi there, she seems that obviously despite the struggle, she has a really good perspective of where she's at, and also there's that air of maybe not having anything to prove. She said there she's really assured of her position and what she can do, and that's great to hear from an athlete in a sport where we see so often so much pressure to hit those high standards.
Yeah, and she also seems to be dealing with it in such a mature way, saying, you know, she's done the work, she's carried out the process, so it's not a surprise when the results do come, because she has done everything that should bring about those results. And if you just focus on the process in that manner, it is going to bring about the best outcomes always, and it means you don't have to keep thinking, oh, what if I do this or get this result? You're just thinking, no, I've done the best I can, I'll continue to do the best I can with the process, and hopefully the results will just continue to come for Lisa Vitozzi.
Well, she said there she's excited to get back onto the snow, excited for the winter, and we are very excited indeed to see her return to the World Cup circuit. Not too long to wait now before it all kicks off. The 29th of November is when we get started with action kicking off in Östersund before we move to Hochfilzen. Another trip to Le Grand Bornand before Christmas, which is always such a special occasion. And Germany double header with Oberhof and Ruhpolding when we come back from the Christmas break as well. So not too long for these fans to wait before Biathlon and the IBU and the World Cup return to German soil.
So impressive to build a shooting range on a lake. Such great views as well around this park. It's just beautiful, and I think the fans staying out here to see the prize giving is a testament to the atmosphere. Everybody is enjoying good music, good weather, great races, great new format, positivity all around.
Well, I'm lucky enough to travel around Europe and watch some brilliant sporting events. There is nothing quite like being there in the crowd for a biathlon race. It's just a different energy. There is so much excitement. The crowd and the events teams, also wherever you go, do such a good job of engaging those in the stands and really conveying what is happening out around the course.
And you see the different cultures as well at different events. You have in Italy, you have like a rock band playing and warming the crowd up, and and they must get really cold hands playing a guitar when it's minus 15. But then you go to Germany and you have all sorts of different cultural elements that are introduced to the event to really make it feel warm, welcoming, and a lot of fun. So many thousands of people cheering in unison at the fall of a target is one of those beautiful aspects of biathlon.
We won't get sick of seeing those shots of Lisa Vitozzi on her return. An impressive victory, and there is more to come, no doubt about that.
Those interested in the statistics, we've got Anna Magnusson with the fastest course time there. Scott Time second fastest, 9.1 seconds behind Magnusson. And Richard actually in third place, 10.3 seconds behind Magnusson. So really fast skiing from the two Swedes up at the front. I wonder if that has good implications for the Swedish team as a whole. Of course, we haven't got the Öberg sisters here to see how they would fare against their teammates and the rest of the field. And interestingly, if you compare the fastest or the total shooting time, Vitozzi was 1 minute 27 seconds, and then for the men, Victor Brandt 1 minute 21 seconds. Very fast shooting, but in terms of the accuracy, Brandt missed 4, and Vitozzi shooting just a couple seconds slower, only missing 2.
She was on top form today. And of course, we know when Lisa Vitozzi is firing on all cylinders, she is very, very hard to beat.
Loop von Biathlon Opening Festival Olympiapark in München. Wir kommen zur großen Siegerehrung und begrüßen nochmals den Honorator. Es ist die Biathlon-Legende, the Legend, Martin Foucault. Auf Platz Nummer 3, in third place, representing Germany, für Deutschland, Justus Strelo.
Justus Strelo welcomed onto the podium. He will receive his prize from Martin Foucault. In front of a home crowd here in Munich. He takes bronze.
Place, representing Norway, für Norwegen, Isak Leknes Frey.
Isak Frey welcomed on to the podium, finishing second. A brilliant battle between him and the eventual winner, Eric Perrault. The future is looking very bright indeed. And a brilliant performance from the young athlete who won the IBU Cup last season.
Opening Festival here in Munich. First winner, champion, representing France für Frankreich, Eric Perrault.
Well, something he's getting used to hearing. First winner champion. It's Eric Perrault, who kick-starts the Biathlon 25-26 season in fashion. Winner of the inaugural Loop 1 festival here in Munich. And we are getting used to seeing that shot, that graphic, Eric Perrault, and gold next to his name. Quite a lot, Scott.
And well deserved. He really demonstrates discipline on the range, total composure out on the skis, and he has very clearly an aggressive attack where he can turn the pace around at the drop of a hat despite the pain. And as we saw, Isak Frey was not able to maintain that speed towards the end of the race. Fantastic from Perrault and the duo by his side from Germany and Norway.
Successful winter season 25-26.
I'm excited to see what Isak Frey is able to bring to the World Cup, where he will undoubtedly be over the course of next winter. His trajectory has been up, his results have been fantastic. And he's an exciting young talent to look out for potential Olympic medals.
Well, it really felt like a changing of guard, didn't it, the last season with the Bull brothers retiring. But the future of Norwegian biathlon in very safe hands. As we welcome the podium for the women's race out in front of the crowd.
Die Veranstaltung der IBO Loop 1 Biathlon Opening Festival Olympiapark München. Wir kommen zur Siegerehrung. Prize giving ladies competition. Once again, big hand to Marte Foucault. Auf Rang Nummer 3 in third place.
And once again, Martin Foucault will do the honours.
Für Schweden, Anna Magnusson.
Anna Magnusson, victorious on so many occasions throughout her career. It's third today, taking the bronze ahead of what she will hope will be a successful season on the World Cup.
Second place for Sweden. Für Schweden, Johanna Skottheim.
Johanna Skottheim fighting so hard around the final lap to ensure that she stayed ahead of her teammate and compatriot. An excellent battle with all three of our podium dropping 2 shots. It was all down to the ski speed.
First champion, winner, Principessa, Siegerin beim Loop 1 Biathlon Opening Festival für Italien, representing Italy, Lisa Vitozzi.
And back on top spot, Lisa Vitozzi. Champion in the inaugural Loop 1 Biathlon Opening Festival. After a year of struggles, heartbreak, thinking she'd be able to come back, having to bide her time. Her patience has paid off, and the 23-24 Biathlon World Cup total score winner is back on top spot. This time, there's something new here at the Olympic Park. And the future looking very bright for Lisa Vitozzi as she prepares to step back on the snow ahead of a home Olympic Games.
Zu guter Letzt bekommen mit der großen Siegerin bei den Damen des heutigen Tages. Bitte, Amelie.
Lisa, how is that the perfect start into the new season?
Yeah, it is a really good start, and
really happy to be here.
So the crowd start to make their way out to the Olympic Park here in Munich. Thank you so much for joining us in this inaugural Loop 1 festival. The biathlon season opening up nice and early. We will be back on the 29th of November as we take to the snow for the start of the World Cup, the Biathlon World Cup in this Olympic season getting underway on the 9th of November.